What's going on, you guys? Avenger Vastey. Today I'm bringing a review of the Marvel's Netflix Iron Fist. Now, there have been a lot of mixed reviews about this show, whether Iron Fist was going to be white or Asian. He's always been white. I don't know why people got the idea that he would be Asian for whatever reason. And this is going to be my opinion about the show. Feel free to disagree with me, but this is just my opinion. Let's start off with the good things about this show. I love how Colleen Wing was portrayed in this show. I feel like that her demeanor and her hand-to-hand combat were just done very well. She's not a character in Marvel Comics who's seen a lot. She's one of those like D-list characters that basically no one cares about, but in this show they just portrayed her extremely well. Orson Randall, if you guys remember from the Immortal Iron Fist comic, he is in this show for a brief moment, and I loved it. It was probably the best thing of the show, and that's not a good thing because I don't have a lot of good things to say about the show. The Hand is in the show, and I do like how they're incorporating so many things for Defenders and things that we've seen in Daredevil. I like how how Madame Gao was portrayed. She's just trained as like someone who's just ruthless and just doesn't care. And I just love that about her character. I want to see that more. I want to see what her powers are, because she seemed to have some kind of power, and I want to see what that is exactly. Let's get into the things I don't like about this show. First being Danny Rand, Iron Fist. Iron Fist in the comics, he's not really seen as someone who is high value like Captain America, Spider-Man. He's just a street level character, and I like him. You know, I've always thought Iron Fist is cool, and when the show was being announced, I was very excited for this character. But when I saw him in the show, I was disappointed. You know, he didn't have his costume, which I understand. You know, for the first season, you don't want to have the costume at first. You want to build up some character. He had his curly hair, which was whatever. And the character who was playing him, the guy, I think his name is Finn something. He was buff, but he didn't really have, well, I wouldn't say buff. He had some muscle mass, but he didn't really have any definition. Like, he didn't really seem like he wanted to play Iron Fist. Like, he was eating pizza. He was doing all these things that a normal Iron Fist shouldn't do. You know, I just did not like that. And getting into the actual character, Danny Rand was just annoying. He complained most of the time. You know, I understand that he wanted to figure out who killed his parents, but most of the time, in order to figure that out, he just acted like a child. He was just like, no, I must figure out who killed my parents, and he just started flipping out. I'm like, dude, does this guy have a mental problem? Like, I just did not like that. Like, Danny Rand, Iron Fist, he's usually laid back, a nice guy. In the show, he's just like, dude, like, you're complaining half of the time. I just did not like that about his character. I felt like they developed that, who is Danny Rand? Is this guy Danny Rand? Way too much for like 3 episodes. I was like, dude, I just don't care. Get into the show. So once they get into the actual show, they kind of like figure out who is the Iron Fist, what is the Iron Fist, and it was just boring to me, man. Like, I don't care. Like, I like Iron Fist. The whole point of the Iron Fist, if you read the Immortal Iron Fist, there's a huge thing about Iron Fist in the past, and how it's important to people, and how there's a new generation for each person. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, you haven't shown me enough to like sell me that you're important. So I didn't buy it. Another thing that bothered me was the Meachums and how much they were seen in the show. You know, Harold, he's the guy who, spoiler alert, he killed Danny Rand's parents, and he was business partners with Danny Rand's dad in Rand Enterprises. And he was cool, but he was just like, dude, like, are you okay? Like, I understand that what happened to him, it was just like, he was just extra for whatever reason, and I just did not like it. It was just annoying. Joy, she was just annoying. I didn't care. Ward was cool. I just didn't see a need for him as much as he was shown too much. You know, he had a drug problem, which sucks, but you don't have to show that like every 5 minutes. Like, I understand. And he had an anger problem for whatever reason. He had I just don't care. Like, show me Iron Fist. Like, make me interested in the character, and I just wasn't. Another thing that bothered me was Claire Temple. I loved her. I love Rosario Dawson. I think she's beautiful, but she was just annoying in the show, man. Like, Daredevil, she was great. Luke Cage, amazing. Jessica Jones, she was alright because she wasn't really seen in the show, but for this, she was just like, why are you here? Like, I understand that you want to learn martial arts, but you don't need to be here. Like, I just didn't care. Like, it was just annoying. Another thing that bothered me was the fact that they didn't really focus on the martial arts. Like, the whole point of Iron Fist is he is a extreme martial artist. Like when it comes to Marvel Comics, there are a bunch of martial artists, but he is one of like the top tier who are great in martial arts. They didn't really sell it for me, man. Like he just kept getting his butt kicked. Like there was some people who like the drunken guy, like he kept getting his butt kicked against him, which I understand. The guy was drunk, he couldn't predict his moves, but I was just like, dude, this is really bad for him. And there were some other fights that didn't really add up. There was some fights where he was able to like hold his own. Other fights where he was just like getting like punched and punched and punched, and was like, come on, man, like you can do better than this. And then his whole chi thing, how he couldn't use it when he was angry. I'm like, you're not selling the show for me. Like I have to be invested in the show for me to care, and I just really didn't. So after me bashing the show, there were things that can be desirable for the future when it comes to Iron Fist. Obviously, the costume, you know, if they would have introduced it earlier, maybe I would have been more invested. I just wasn't for whatever reason. The suit of Iron Fist is super important for his character, and they just didn't have it, and that really bothered me for whatever reason. Another thing that really bothered me, and that they can fix for the future, is the fighting. If you guys have seen the movie The Raid, you know, that movie is just crazy, man. The hand-to-hand combat and the martial arts in that movie is just insane. I love martial arts, and if that's missing in a show where the character is mainly a martial artist, it really bothers me. And if it was like Bruce Lee type fighting, I would have been on board, and it just wasn't for a reason. So that really bothered me. The special effects were cool. I feel like, you know, they could have had a higher budget, especially when it came to Kung Lao, man. It was just shown as this like ice place, and it was just like, dude, show his actual training, you know, show what he actually went through to become the Iron Fist. They did show the dragon where he put the hand of the chest or something like that, and he had a scar and he became the Iron Fist. You know, that was cool. Do more of that. I don't know why they kept doing like, oh, Kung Lao, oh, this is what happened. It's like, dude, show what actually happened there. And the 7 Heavenly Cities, if they want to incorporate that into the story, that show would be fire. Like some tournament level stuff. You know, Davos was there, and he obviously is not happy with Danny Rand, and he's probably going to kill him. He wants to kill him. You know, they can do an approach like that, having them fight together, because they have fought him many times together, and he has gotten the upper hand. And that is a case where I would see a good villain in the Netflix show. And the Bride of 9 Spiders, I think, she is in the show, and I like how she's portrayed, and I want to see her back again in the 7 Heavenly Cities storyline, and I hope they do that. And I have high hopes for this show in the future, but just not right now. Last but not least, let's get into Defenders. I have very high hopes for the show. It's going to be amazing. I love Jessica Jones. I never reviewed the show, but I finished it during spring break, and I thought the show was fantastic. It started off a little slow, didn't really sell it for me, but then it just got way better, and it was just like, dude, if you haven't seen Jessica Jones, check it out. It's amazing. Luke Cage, it was amazing. I just loved him. I thought he was just portrayed extremely well. I loved all the references. I loved the music, everything. Daredevil is probably my favorite out of all of them. Luke Cage is a second, but Daredevil was just amazing. I have reviewed season 1 if you want to check that out. But Iron Fist, I feel like he's going to get a good treatment in Defenders. If we're getting a lot of directors, so that means the directors of Daredevil are going to work with the directors of Iron Fist, and they may say, hey, this might work a little better for the character, and make him more redeemable than he has been in his own show, and then maybe bring that over to his show, make it a lot better. So I have very high hopes for this show. I did see the trailer where they're in the elevator and they're just like, and then Jessica Jones punches the camera. You can check that out. It's pretty cool. And yeah, alright guys, that's my review. I'll catch you later. Peace.